Morning, sir. Are you ready to get some at 5 a.m.?
Get some airy 5 a.m. I
Yeah.
prefer the evening podcasts,
I can see it in your eyes.
but hey, getting shit done.
Yes, sir. Roll the intro music. How's the good vibe, people? Welcome to the 8th episode of the Good Vibes Theory. My name is Nelson,
My name's Matty.
and we're here to share the good vibes with the world.
Yeah, and other stuff. And
We're gonna. I hate you so much.
I'm never going to get it in the morning.
There's no chance of you getting that little second part in the morning.
Too early. So what's happened here is that we've just had a busy week.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So it's been my fault. I'm gonna be honest. I'm just gonna take ownership right here. Suddenly, out of nowhere, I got a lot of work. A lot of freelance work that I need to do in order to sustain my priorities, which are YouTube and podcasting, right? So it's sort of like a little bit of momentum has been created. And one of the biggest lessons I have had in the past 4.5 years of pursuing my dreams is that when momentum is created, you gotta take it and you gotta continue to create that snowball effect as much as you can, because then that's when you can sort of create a big opportunity out of those little things that are sort of like putting against each other, right? So a little job pop in, did my best, did it quick, deliver fast, then another came in, then two more came in, then and sort of when I realized, I was like, holy shit, I'm all booked for 2.5 weeks, so which is big when you're doing freelance. So yeah, I'm pretty much like trying to get all these jobs done the best way possible, and also on top of that, I was I'm trying to be very organized with all my projects and everything I do. I hate skipping like a YouTube video, which has happened in the past 3.5 weeks or something like that. And podcasting, I hate that, and I don't want that. And I told you when we committed to do the podcast, we're not missing a week, and you being on top of me, being like, yeah, we got to get it done this week, right?
Yeah, well, I said it because now we're in Christmas party season this weekend.
Yeah.
I'm fully booked up. We're supposed to shoot the next one on the weekend anyway. So
Yeah.
What was the choice?
Yeah,
Get
exactly.
up a little bit early. We might do this one a little bit shorter because I do have to get to work.
Yeah.
But it's good we committed to a project and just making sure that we can hit the goals in some form. It might not be 6 p.m. Wednesday every single week, but as long as we're getting it out every week, I'm happy.
Yeah, that's what matters, like the commitment, and that has been built now for 8 weeks, like us
2
showing
months.
up. Yeah, exactly. It's a lot. It seems like nothing, like it's just 8 episodes. But when it comes down to time frames, it's been 2 months of podcasting. How are you feeling, bro?
I'm feeling pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm feeling a lot more commple now than I was when I
For
started.
sure. It's funny how I keep running into people that tells me like, hey, I listened to your English podcast and stuff. The first episode was so funny. Your friend was so nervous. I was just like, oh yeah, he's getting way more, fluent and loose.
A little bit better, yeah. So I definitely feel that why I started this podcast for myself was I wanted to, I guess, develop my skills in articulating a point, like quickly, concisely. And I just wanted to be able to talk without stumbling through and get a concept out of my head and put it out there. And even in the last 2 months, I feel I've gotten a lot better at that, which means it's working for what I was trying to achieve by this whole process. Like we said, we're not trying to make $1 million out of a podcast, but for what I wanted, I think
we're
it's
not
going along.
saying we can't make $1 million with the podcast, though.
Look, Spotify, if you want exclusive rights,
Yeah.
just saying.
Yeah.
But then one of the reasons you wanted to is because you don't do a lot of English content through your personal channels. How do you find that's fit into what you're doing when you post it on your stories and all that sort of stuff?
Well, I tried in the past, a couple of years ago, I tried once my YouTube. This is an example of when you get momentum and you are the one to cut it out. I was getting a lot of momentum with my videos. If I should have continued to make those same videos I was making, I don't know where my channel will be right now. Probably quite big. But then I completely cut it out because I was like, oh no, you know what? I live in Australia. I should be making videos in English. All my main audience speaks Spanish. That cut completely out the momentum because then people were like, oh, I can't understand what he's saying now, you know. But it's all about trial and error. You got to try different things to make sure you're on the right track. So I sort of went to a different lane and then realized, okay, that's not what I'm meant to be doing. There's a huge market of Spanish speaking people right here that doesn't really have great creators, or at least not as much as the creators that the English market has, you know. So okay, what if I try to be sort of like a bridge between that, you know, between, hey guys, this is what's happening on this market, this is what people are learning, this is the concepts that are being taught by people that accomplish extraordinary things, and this is also like what we're doing on our space. So it's sort of like
presenting it in Spanish.
Exactly.
From then. So how do you find now that you've revisited, not that you've changed lanes completely, because you this time made a different avenue to do it that people do or don't have to subscribe to. How do you find that's been received?
Well, right now it's been incredible. The feedback has been really awesome. I noticed that we do have here quite a few people coming from my other platforms that do understand English, and they're loving it. They're, you know, I think that because that's exactly what I have in my head. Like, exactly what we say on the first episode. That could be really interesting, having two dudes coming from completely different sides of the world, you know. So I think in the long run, we're just gonna keep getting better. You know, right now 8 episodes, it's a lot, but at the same time it's nothing. You know, I'm hoping we're gonna be sharp. It's around episode 30 maybe. You know, like, so it's a long way to go, but I'm excited because this is how much improvement we have seen in just 8 episodes. So I'm sure like we will get really good around episode 30, you know. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, I'm excited. We'll start bringing guests on probably early in the new year as well. So if Road, you're listening,
be ready, because we need some mics.
We need more mics. We need a podcaster. So
yeah, we need to make that video happen. Because I told Matty, I'm pretty sure we could get, you know, Road to on board with us. It's a like a, you know, a tricky shot to pull, but we should try.
We'll try. We'll go.
We should try and see what happens. Otherwise, Rod, okay, we're gonna break the bank in a couple more mics.
Yeah, see, I got bloody holes in my t-shirt.
Yeah, he can't even afford a nice t-shirt. Yeah, but no, answering your question, I even told this to your wife, to Beck, that the main reason why I'm doing this podcast is because I want to have that time with you every week in which there's no distractions. It's just you and me. Continue growing, continue learning with each other, continue developing our relationship. And I love it. I love that time, you know, that time of the week that, yeah, we're just podcasting and having fun, you know, it's something that we both love doing, you know. So that's the main reason for me. And then the second one, the same way as you, my personal challenge is like, okay, this will be like a dedicated English speaking platform, you know, that could bring who knows what opportunity, because then brands, you know, like business opportunities or whatever, they can see like, hey, he does a lot of Spanish speaking content, which is a good market for us to sort of approach, but he can also speak English, you know, so he's able to be between those two lanes.
Yeah, I think that's a big one, because if you go on your channel, you have this giant skill set of speaking English, which is sort of the language in most places, but you don't show it. Like no one knows you speak
Exactly,
English.
yeah.
You just seem like another one of the Brazilians that are speaking Portuguese.
Yeah.
That's how ignorant white people are.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's good that in some form you can showcase it.
Yeah.
So I think that's pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Alright. What else we got?
So I've been doing weddings. Let me
Oh.
tell you, weddings
Suck.
suck.
Suck. I told you
Yeah,
that.
yeah. Well. Let me clarify that. I love the concept of being in kind of like a rush, trying to get the best shots possible and capturing emotion, because you're capturing people that are falling in love with each other. You know, there's always someone crying. There's a lot of beautiful things being said, but there's a lot of stress. There's a lot of little things that you can't miss. There's a lot of details that, you know, keep you in high alert kind of thing. And I have done 3 now. I still have 1 more to go so far. But yeah, it's a lot. You finish the day as well, like super stressed. The last one I did is it was the sister of one of our best mates, Darren, and it was like 3 hours and a half away from here.
It's a big day.
Yeah, and I had to drive back because I'm having some issues with my hard drives and stuff. And I came back home around 2 a.m. and still, once you're back, I can't sleep tight until I know I have my backups done. So I end up going to bed around 3 a.m. So yeah, that's been happening for me lately. What about you?
A bit of weddings.
Yeah.
Oh, what have we done? So off the back of the Black Friday sale, we did.
Oh yeah, how did that go?
So good, so good.
Was it the best day of sales that you have done this year?
Yeah. Well, we ran it. It was the best month because it wasn't one day. It's called Black Friday, but we ran it for like a week.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
So that's what we did. But yeah, no, it was very good. But it's exciting because we started all of that maybe 6 weeks prior, like making different Facebook ads, making multiple emails so you can like A/B split test them. So much effort went into it, and like planning to be like, oh, on this day we should do this, and on this day, and what audience that's going out to. It was the most planning I've ever put into an event, bar an actual product launch.
Came out well.
Yeah, and it just like unfolded in front of us.
That's
like
awesome.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
How many people are involved in all the marketing and the planning besides you? Is there someone else in the team that is kind of like in there constantly working with you?
Yeah, sort of. So the owner, Fleur, so it's Jeff and Fleur.
If you hear me doing, it's because I also got sick and I'm sort of like finally getting all good now.
Yeah. So anyway, one of the owners, a wife, she's very into like strategy.
Yeah.
So she'll always be spitballing ideas. And then we got a Facebook ads manager as well. He does a lot of the testing on paid ads. So he'll be like, this sort of creative is going to work. And then I guess it's my job to put together the strategy and bounce it off those 2 people to refine it. And then we got a web developer too, but like he actions stuff.
Yeah, because like you would think that with a company that of that, you know, that big, you have like a full-on team of 10 people. If you were to ask me without knowing you, I would be like, yeah, probably like 10 people are, you know, being in charge of everything you've seen in social media.
You would think that, yes.
But then you realize like 90% of the job is being done by Matty. So props to you, bro. You're a hard worker with it.
Thank you. I don't think that's overly normal for a company like that, because I've watched like behind the scenes of other companies.
Yeah, like they're really squeezing you.
I do it. So there's a couple benefits. So other companies with a similar like turnover to us might have 10 or 15 in their team doing what we're doing. The flip side of that is we're selling the dream. We're selling skateboards. They do sell pretty easily compared to selling insurance, right? A lot easier to sell a skateboard.
Yeah.
And we have like this weird community that is super engaged. So we get a lot of user-generated content. We got a lot of like pretty much the actual customers provide a lot of value themselves that we can reuse. So between it being easy to sell and that, we get away with having a smaller team. And because it's a smaller team, we can action things fast, right? So if there's 10 people, you got to sit around and talk about it.
Yeah, and then everyone will have different ideas. Some will say, no, that doesn't work, whatever. When it's pretty much just you're like, hey, I think this will work. I know, because you've been doing the job as well for a while now, so...
Been there a little while. I was discussing something I wanted to action next year with the owner.
Yeah.
Because, you know...
Also, that's a great thing that in most companies, maybe having access to the owner will be like a bit more complicated, or you will need to go through more avenues, whereas you and the owner are pretty much like, great friends.
Well, he's incredibly hands-on. So, like, he needs to know...
And handsome, too.
Nice. So yeah, like when I spoke to him, I just wanted to do this. He was literally in the warehouse next to the staff quality controlling boards, like unscrewing, testing customer boards. Like he's sweating it out in the warehouse.
Yeah.
He loves it. He's been doing like 4 hours a day for the last month.
I can't wait to meet him, actually.
Yeah, so that's nuts. So I went to him. I'm like, hey, this is what I want to do. And he's like, I don't really have time to dive into this too much, but you do it. You do it. So that's pretty much the free pass to go do whatever I want. Whereas if it was a team, it's like, all right, let's talk about it and never, ever action anything. Yeah. Which you see happen all the time.
Yeah, and that has to be so frustrating as a creative, because you're a creative mind, and it's like every time you bring up an idea is being debated by other 9 people.
Or even the time it takes to action.
Exactly, true.
So when I first started, there's sort of 3 people working with me now in SEO, web development, and paid ads. None of those people were there when I started. We've all done hires since, and we worked with external agencies. So we'd pretty much pay agencies / freelancers to do that stuff for us because there wasn't enough work to justify having someone sitting there all the time.
Yeah.
But then as we grow, the dollar figure of the freelancer gets bigger and bigger and bigger until you start looking at, we could probably hire someone for the same costs. But when you hire someone and they're sitting on that seat next to you all day, every day, the productivity rate goes up tenfold. You can't even fathom it, because when you're talking to an agency, I want to run an ad on this. Hey, can we run an ad on that? Message them. Yes, we can if you do this. Message back. Make the creative. Sorry, I didn't see the email. And then it takes 2 weeks to action something.
Yeah.
And now it's like, hey, Jared, I want to do this. And he's like, yeah, man, do it like this. I'm like, I got you. And then by the end of the day, it's running.
Yeah.
That's something that is, super cool that I think a small team makes a lot easier.
And that's the beauty of places and platforms like YouTube, not having to wait for any sort of approval to do stuff. That's what I love about YouTube, that even though once you start being a creator, like a proper YouTuber and stuff, you understand what kind of videos you have to make in order to get views, in order to continue to grow. But in the end, like, you decide what's the video you want to make, how you want to make it, and when you put it out there. It's all within your hands, which is something that I really dig about YouTube.
Yeah, and it's not all about just videos now. You could do a boxing fight if you wanted to.
That's okay. Alley-oop right there. Love it, Matty.
I mean, I'll just throw it out there.
Yeah. We recently watched the Mike Tyson's fight, right? On the undercard was one of the biggest YouTubers in the world, which is Jake Paul, right? notorious YouTuber for a lot of stuff he has done in the past. Is someone that, along with his brother, I look up to, not for what they do, but because where they come from and what they have been able to do in like
How they manage it is very impressive. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's incredible, man. Like, we're talking about two kids, like completely standard kids from Ohio that made it to the biggest stages in the world, to the biggest eyeballs, like millionaires. And they're just Logan, the bigger brother, is, I think, is my age or a little bit younger, and then Jake is 23, and they're fucking out like fighting on undercards with one of the biggest boxing legends. They do all sort of things. So they do music, they do, they have done YouTube vlogs, they have businesses, they sell clothing, they get their hands in anything you can imagine. Now they're pro boxers, like actual pro boxers. So to me, they show me that being a YouTuber has no limits, that you can accomplish anything you want, you can be anything you want at the highest level, as long as you're willing to work really hard, because these dudes are workhorse. They work really hard. I have seen their growth for years now, and like, I learned a lot of stuff, like, hey, these dudes, they put together teams. They find people that are really excited about what they're doing. I studied like everything they done. I didn't watch it for my own entertainment, really. It's more like about studying how they have been doing things, and I've seen like the pivoting moments of their content and stuff, and how they're growing, and how are they doing their podcasts, all these things. And it's incredible, man. And like, Jake also knocked down his rival, which was an ex-NBA player.
Which I didn't think was going to happen, because that dude was shredded as fuck.
And that shows as well that...
He was old, though.
Yeah, he was old, but very athletic. But that's the thing. It doesn't matter how athletic you are. Boxing is a different area. It's a sport, it's like MMA. Like, doesn't matter how much you can jump, how fast you can run. If you don't know the technicality of fighting and the experience of being in a ring and being able to take punches as well, you're gonna go down, man.
Yeah, you'd think if you're signing up to that fight, you'd be fairly well prepared.
Yeah,
on his behalf.
No chance. No chance. 3 years of experience have Jake now.
Yeah, I wonder how long Old Mate's been doing it for. But I guess the other side of them leveraging all this stuff to create the clothing and do the fighting, it's all based off their notoriety or their fame, essentially. So what do you think is the difference between like traditional celebrity fame and social media fame? Do you think social media fame's getting bigger? Like,
it's how much you can relate to them. So if you put right now in here, I don't know, Donald Trump, which is someone that pretty much the entire world knows, and then you put next to him Casey Neistat, I bet you more people will go crazy for Casey than for Trump, because they get who's Casey, they get what he does, they watch him constantly every day on the internet, like they feel they know him.
Have you ever seen a Trump rally?
Yeah, and also I'm not saying that Trump doesn't have like crazy supporters and stuff. Obviously he does, but like social media personalities are the mainstream right now. Like people go crazy for them. For actors, you respect what they do and stuff, but you don't really know that person.
That's what I was thinking. Like, name an actor that's gotten famous within the last 5 years. There's not many.
Not many of them. Like, we know Chris Hemsworth. Like, we love Chris.
That's what I mean. He's been around a long time. He was on Home and Away, a soap show thing here, years and years and years ago. Like, man, probably 20 years ago.
Yeah.
But in the last 5 years, like, who's the most famous people? It's YouTubers and Instagrammers and TikTokers. And it's interesting that some of them live relatively normal lives because they haven't monetized it at all because they can't, because they're no good at business.
Yeah.
They're good at being famous.
Yeah.
And then some of them, like the Pauls, just picked up that ball, ran with it,
Yeah.
and turned it into an empire. Like,
Exactly.
have you watched any of the stuff with Jeffree Star?
He's
That motherfucker.
one of the most millionaires. Is that how you would say most millionaires? I don't know if that's grammatically
No, well, he's the
correct.
most well paid.
Yeah, YouTubers,
Highest earning.
And because he's a business,
Yeah, you can't. That's the weird thing there. That's what. So he's not the highest earning YouTuber. He's an incredible entrepreneur, and
Exactly.
and YouTube is part of his marketing
Well,
platform.
being a YouTuber in most cases is being an entrepreneur. You know, someone that is figuring a business out, how to make it work, and you know, like you just said, there's a lot of YouTubers that they know how to be creators, but the one thing that I learned from me is that you gotta understand business. You gotta understand how to make it, you know, sustainable. And for me, I'm still figuring a lot of stuff out. Like I have ideas of stuff that I've been seeing from other YouTubers, and I need to action on them. But I'm sort of developing that freelance stuff to be able to produce, you know. But like as a long-term goal, I want to make the YouTube and the podcast the main source of income, let's say. But that's what you learn from these big YouTubers like Jeffree Star. His main source of income comes from the makeup. He developed a makeup brand and all these things, and it's incredible. There's a documentary on YouTube showing all the factories and how much he has gotten out of it. But it all came from YouTube, from him, you know, like reviewing makeup, and now he's a millionaire because of that.
Yeah.
It's crazy. We're getting to the end. I wanted to talk about a little piece of wisdom that I got from the wedding, actually. At the wedding, I met our friend's dad, right? His family is very successful. I'm hoping we'll get Darren actually on the podcast, because I think a lot of people will get a lot of value from what he has learned of business, actually, and how to make and retain money, you know, because he grew up in that environment pretty much.
Here's a test, Darren. If you're actually listening, come on down.
Yeah.
If you're not listening, sorry, mate.
You're probably gonna be one of the first guests. But anyways, I met his dad. Lovely human. And then at the end of the night, I told Darren, hey, because they were all having their dinner and stuff. I was like, hey, could you ask your dad if he could come really quick? I just want to ask him a question, right? And he comes and he's like, hey, what do you want to know? I was like, hey, you know, I'm a very curious human, and whenever I meet someone that I know has had a good run in life, you know, that has accomplished a lot of things. I know like a lot of the family through Darren, and I know you guys are very successful, that you have built amazing businesses and stuff. I just wanted to know, what sort of advice would you give to your younger self, right? If you were my age, what would you tell yourself? And he looks at me, he's kind of thinking like, wow, I haven't been asked this, you know, like, and he stops for a second, and then he goes, take more risk. And he pretty much told me that he regrets a lot of times in his life in which there was a great opportunity presented, but because of fear, because of excuses, he didn't take it. And he looks at it now and he's like, why didn't I just take it? You know, what was the worst that could happen? Maybe, you know, losing some money, maybe, you know, things not working out the way you thought it would be. But that's it. You know, like it wouldn't be, in most cases, wouldn't be like a life-threatening situation. So he looked at me again and said, take more risk. So people, I think that's very simple but valuable little piece of advice, and it's just like and I was looking back into me, because I do take a lot of risk in my life, but sometimes you do need that reminder of someone that has gone longer through this path of life and tell you like, hey, go for it, don't be afraid.
And it certainly gets harder the older you get, because you stand to lose more.
Yeah,
And more people are dependent.
exactly. Yeah.
Like right now, you could put your life savings on the line.
Yeah,
Yeah, it sucks if something went wrong, but you don't have a wife and kids,
exactly.
right? You
I
don't have kids in school that need to do this. It'd be very difficult to do that further down the track. But also, like, the risk doesn't have to be that big. It could just be doing this, doing that, investing in that.
Yeah, obviously you gotta take that with a grain of salt, depending on where you are in terms of life in general. Where are you standing from? How many people actually depend on you? How much money do you really need to make in order to provide for those people? Right now, like if you're like me, let's say that you're single, you are living with friends, you're trying to make a business work and whatever, take risk, like that.
Take smart risks.
Yeah.
Because I know this one guy, and oh man, it's like one great idea after the next, and none of them ever work. And we're talking for years. It's just been failure, which is super sad to see. He definitely takes risks, but it's maybe not thought out. So if a couple don't work in a row, reevaluate what you're doing.
Also don't surrender, because like picture how many people have had tons of ideas and they actually action on them, and it didn't work out for them until their late 40s, 50s, which sucks, but don't give up. If you want to be if you want to be an entrepreneur or whatever, just keep trying, until you find your thing, because it takes a lot. Not because you are 30 and you try many different ideas, then you will be like, oh no, I'm not meant to start my own business, I need to get a 9 to 5 or whatever. No, if you feel like you really want to be your own boss, that you want to start something on your own, keep trying different things until you nail down what is your thing, what are you great at, and what can you develop into maybe hopefully an empire, like an empire. I think, I don't know, empire.
Oh, empire.
Yeah, empire.
Gotcha, mate. Gotcha. Look, we're right at the end, so we need to quickly punch out a couple fun facts.
Facts, yes. You don't have a fact, Matthew?
I have a fact. I went first last time, though. You
No,
show me your
didn't.
fact.
How do I know you're not lying to me? I'm making a fact right now. Did you know that when you climb the Everest, there's a bunch of dead bodies that you're gonna go through?
I think a lot of people have died up there, right?
Yeah, so a lot of people have died, and then the bodies have to be left there because it's too dangerous to bring back down. And then because obviously of the temperature, the bodies are conserved. So if you go to climb the Everest, there's a very good chance that you will see dead bodies laying around.
That's nice.
Yeah.
I don't think people don't die up there very often anymore, though.
No. There's they say it's probably like just over 100 bodies, but it's it's likely that you could see a couple.
That's cute. That's nice.
Yeah, it's interesting, right?
I've seen a photo and people line up at the top, like 200 meters of a line to stand on the summit.
Oh yeah, of course.
You
If you made it that far, you better do that line, right?
Yeah, I know, but it's like, fuck.
It's weird, right? When you get to
That's a lot of people doing this thing that's supposed to be real hard.
Yeah, exactly. Well, because humans have got better through years, and once someone breaks the limits, it follows. It's like it just takes one human to prove like, hey, this can be done, and then it's crazy how many people follow. It's like the running thing. Have you ever heard the story of I think it's the 4 mile run or something, that for the longest time it was said by scientists, by runners, by everyone, that it couldn't be done under X amount of time. I can't remember exactly the times, until it took one human to do it. And then the next year, it was like 10 more did it. And then after that, like 20 more did it. And it for the longest time, no one could do it, just because we told ourselves the story that it couldn't be done.
I'm going to pivot my fact to be similar to that. I did a photo shoot last week with this, the model. She was a sprinter, and we were talking about running. And we were talking about times and what all that means. Did you know that, I'm pretty sure it was this year, it could have been last, but up until this year, no white man ever ran under 10 seconds for the 100.
No.
We're talking hundreds of black men. Like, they do it all day, every day. 9.6, 9.7. Up until this year, no white man had ran under 10.
Really?
Obviously.
And who did it? Where is he from?
He's French.
French?
Yeah.
Oh, French are fast.
The Frenchies.
Yeah.
Yes. Which, I mean, it makes sense genetically. But when that difference falls on like such a such a pinnacle mark, like, can you get under 10?
Yeah.
And it's like, black people can, white people can't. But I'm pretty sure.
They see your skin color. It's like, no, you can't.
No, you can't. Yeah, which it's super interesting. It makes total sense. But I'm pretty sure they've been running under 10 for like decades.
Well, I bet you that next year, this time, there will be plenty of white men that have done it. Because then it was proof, like, oh, we can do it. We can actually do it, guys.
We can do it. Let's go.
Yeah, it's crazy. The book I'm reading also, which I'll probably talk about it more when I finish it, but it was pretty much talking about that, the sense of planting thoughts in your head and being like, hey, if you plant the right seed, which we sort of talk about it in past episodes, you can accomplish anything you want. If you start telling yourself the story that, yeah, you can make millions of dollars. Yes, you can build an empire on your own. Yes, you can build a great team to accomplish extraordinary results. Yes, you can, get a skydiving license, which we're gonna get soon, hopefully, Matthew.
Soon.
You can get a great partner. You can get great friends. You sort of start manifesting everything, because the more you repeat those things, that's why it's so important to keep repeating that kind of thoughts, because then your subconscious mind starts picking up on those thoughts, and without you even know it starts coming up with ideas to materialize those thoughts. And then you sort of, a lot of times, you're like, oh, inspiration just came through and stuff, and it's your subconscious mind.
Let's talk about that in depth next time, because I had a conversation with someone about that recently, and some people have some wacky views on it.
Okay, I'm in, sir.
I'll see you on the next one.
Where can people find you on social media?
Look, you can find me Instagram, a guy called Matty. That's pretty much where I live.
I'm at Nelfalife on every platform. Please make sure to follow us at The Good Vibes Theory
on
Instagram. Subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't done so for some reason. Leave a comment, a like, and if you want to give the extra mile,
give us a 5-star rating. Always good. We're on Apple and Spotify as well.
Exactly right, Matthew. But in Spanish, I say always, it's kind of like at the end, I say this and much more on the next episode. I don't know if that makes sense in English.
Yes, and much more.
How would you
Hola, si. What's that? What's that?
We will see you in the next episode.
Catch you next time. Bye, guys.
Boom.